Just miles behind the Ukrainian front lines, Russian special forces stumbled upon a horror so dark, it feels like something out of a nightmare. In the wake of the fierce Russian advance, hundreds of enslaved children were rescued from a hidden underground tunnel network. A raid that's sending shockwaves through the corridors of global power. According to Russian sources involved in the raid, captured in chilling footage, this is the biggest child trafficking bust in history. But what they uncovered was far worse than numbers. A vast trafficking network linking the Kiev regime to a ruthless Israeli ring, with global reach to adrenochrome hotspots including Hollywood and DC. With Putin promising to tear this dark empire down by force, the world is left wondering, how deep does this conspiracy run? And who will survive when the truth is finally exposed? Before we dive in, join the TPV free speech community over on Soju. Soju is a digital space where ideas and information can take place without any annoying algorithms or restrictive rules getting in the way of free expression. According to Russian sources, an Israeli-linked child trafficking network was busted near the village of Zolotaya, Ukraine, where hundreds of traumatized children were being held captive in atrocious conditions. Battle-hardened Russian soldiers, including special forces and Spetsnaz, embedded within the Adrenochrome task force, struggled to maintain their composure, as they described the gut-wrenching discovery of malnourished children hooked up to intravenous drips. Their fragile bodies were systematically drained of blood and adrenal fluid, evidence of an inhumane operation fueling the global adrenochrome trade, allegedly with a supply chain running through Israel to the Western world. Body cam footage from a Russian soldier reveals the chilling extremes these traffickers and those protecting them will go in order to hide their crimes and keep their empire of exploitation alive.
Чё, дышим? Чё там? Гранат кидай.
Нет, нет, нет.
Убил?
Да.
Белый. Жопу всю дорогу контроль.
As Russian special operations units advanced on the settlement, it became evident that fires had been deliberately set to destroy the primary access point to a subterranean tunnel complex located on the outskirts of Zolotaya. A fierce firefight broke out, with coordinated attacks launched from both the northern and southern flanks, as Ukrainian government forces mounted a last-ditch effort to secure and defend the tunnel entrance from advancing Russian units.
Над нами коптер.
С севера идут кто-то, с севера идут кто-то.
Туда контроль. Хуя, осколок возле уха пролетел. Слышишь?
Северной стороны бегут трое. Да, трое. Пучки бегут на вас.
Ближе подпускайте.
Акула спасайте, бегут. Осталось кто на вас. Около 50 на себя, 50.
Гранату бери у меня. Туда нахуй зачищай. Туда кидай.
Второго паси.
Давай, кидай, братишка. Пиздец ты кинул. Накладывай.
Спасать-то, видишь, надо еще кого-нибудь. Вопрос.
After securing the perimeter, the assault team encountered personnel from Ukrainian government forces aligned with the Kiev regime. Zelensky's goons immediately initiated surrender protocols, requesting a prisoner exchange. Clearly a tactical move aimed at dissuading Russian forces from breaching the tunnel and uncovering what lay beneath.
Окружены, блядь. Не хотим вас тоже убивать. По обмену пленными пойдете. Давайте жизнь подарим вам.
Что там? Гнилая позиция?
Нет, все здесь.
These children endure constant deliberate trauma, designed to flood their bodies with adrenaline, ensuring they never know a moment free from terror or pain. Many were born into this horrific system, factory farmed for slavery, stripped of identity, and with no birth certificates or records. Others were abducted and trafficked into this network, with Russian forces confirming that children of at least a dozen nationalities were among those liberated. Out of respect for these survivors' dignity and to aid their recovery and reintegration into society, we've been asked not to share images of these children. Their healing is paramount. Freeing them from the shadows is just the first step towards restoring their humanity. Putin recognizes that the next crucial step is delivering justice. And justice starts at the top.
Они привыкли столетиями набивать брюхо человеческой плотью, а карманы деньгами. Но они должны понять, что бал вампиров заканчивается.
Now, armed with intelligence gathered from these operations, Putin has vowed to crush what he calls the elite's vampire ball and bring the global child trafficking syndicate to its knees. But what does this mean for the Israeli trafficking network and their high-profile clients in the power centers of Europe, Hollywood and Washington, D.C.? We hear from insiders directly involved in the adrenochrome raids after this important message from our sponsor. Russian President Vladimir Putin formed the elite adrenochrome task force earlier this year, explaining that Zelensky's inner circle has been earning hundreds of millions of dollars per year, keeping children in degrading factory farm conditions, and selling them to the highest bidder on the international market, no questions asked. Unspeakable crimes against children have united the vampiric elite as a secretive cabal, whose actions behind closed doors are destroying the lives of the innocent. Putin has vowed to follow the evidence wherever it leads, dismantling the sinister child trafficking network and ensuring that those exploiting and harming children are brought to justice. Disturbingly, the evidence suggests that the industry is growing so fast, it requires a constantly growing supply of children to satisfy the urges of elite pedophiles and adrenochrome addicts. This is why the streets of towns and cities across Ukraine are lined with missing children posters. But it's not just Ukraine. Children across the world are going missing at an incredible rate. In the US, it's estimated that at least 100,000 children, girls and boys, are bought and sold for sex every year. On average, a child might be raped by 6,000 men during a 5-year period of servitude. Many of these children are never seen again. Most of the missing are trafficked through international hubs, including those in lawless Ukraine, where the Kiev regime are taking their share of the profits, as former CIA analyst Larry Johnson said in an interview.
Hey, Judge, remember, we've got reports coming out of Ukraine that children are being trafficked by the West, that they're being used for both sex, they're being used for harvesting organs. It's not isolated reports. They're very credible reports on this. And you come back and look at, why is the United States so heavily invested in Ukraine? Because it's not because we're there to, quote, uphold democracy. If we're there to uphold democracy, we'd be attacking Ukraine.
Johnson is a seasoned analyst who knows Ukraine better than anybody in the mainstream media. And following Trump's election victory, his expert analysis is playing out exactly as predicted. According to Russians on the ground in Ukraine, children are sold as sex slaves to elite pedophiles. And those who don't find buyers are carved up like discarded waste. And their organs are harvested and sold for use at European and Israeli transplant centers.
Существовали лаборатории у защитников Украины. Это нацбаты, Они, соответственно, занимались, они получали процент со сделки свой, и они занимались тем, что убивали детей. Органы они помещали в контейнеры. Контейнеры дальше продавались, соответственно. И под экспортным кодом зерна вывозились. Мы ликвидировали 8 лабораторий, а они представляли из себя нечто похожее на то, что мы называем подвалами. В основном мы уже были после зачистки. То есть, когда лаборатория была обнаружена, и, как правило, это было после взрыва. То есть мы заходили на пепелище, там были трупы, там были дети. Препарированы. То есть детки были разрезаны.
Roseanne Barr recently joined Tucker Carlson on stage to open everybody's eyes to the reality of the child sex epidemic and the elite's taste in children's blood. The Hollywood elite, she says, are full-blown vampires who can't consume enough of the blood of children.
You know they eat babies. That is not bullshit. It's true.
So it's not just the dogs and the cats, not just the pets.
It's not just the dogs and the cats. They're full-on vampires. And everybody still thinks I'm crazy, but I'm not crazy. They're full-on vampires. They love the taste of human flesh and they drink human blood. They do, Tucker. Stop staring at me like that.
You're freaking me out, man. Because you spent your life in the entertainment business, so I think you have some authority on this.
So many kids that I was in mental institutions with over the years, they are all from those cults. And they've covered it all up. They covered it all up. And, you know, I just pray to God. I'm just going to pray to God that he opens everybody's eyes in this country.
It's a big club, and thank God you ain't in it. Rather than exposing the criminals and psychopaths, the media and entertainment industry are doing everything they can to normalise the agenda through subliminally inserting the narrative into children's movies. The occult elite enjoy nothing more than hiding in plain sight.
Monsters, Inc. is a movie about adrenochrome. The movie's plot is literally centered around the monsters who work at Monsters Incorporation, where they enter through doors at night to scare them because the children's fears, specifically their screams, are used to power the city of Monstropolis. They even use ranking systems to see who can extract the most screams from these children, and they're absorbed into these
tubes.
These containers or whatever.
And they literally look like blood when they're filling up. And if you think about the tactics that are used by the elite, right, like how they acquire the best form of adrenal blood is by spiking the adrenaline in children. So you have to torture, you have to deliberately instill fear, and then you extract the blood.
This scheme to kidnap the children and extract their screams with the help of a machine called the scream extractor. And at full capacity, the device torturously forces the screams out of them until they meet their end.
Hollywood and entertainment industry figures, including Lady Gaga, a close friend of Marina Abramovich, are reveling in their role of normalising the war against our children, while the mainstream media continues gaslighting the public by claiming that adrenochrome is a conspiracy theory.
I'm kidnapping children that I keep in the hotel upstairs, and I bring home people to feed on, and then Iris helps me to filter the blood through the children. She loves to hunt.
If you want to live in a world that's safe for our children, it's time to make a stand. Here at The People's Voice, we're determined to continue exposing the globalist elite and waking up the masses. But we can't do it alone. We need your help to spread the truth far and wide. Subscribe to the channel and join the People's Voice Locals community to join us in our mission to educate the world about what's really happening behind the scenes in the world today. I hope to see you there. Today's video is brought to you by IPv6ers. Are you a content creator who wants to publish information online without Big Brother spying and censoring your every move? IPv6ers is set to revolutionize the way